Hey everybody, welcome back to today's video. If you're new here, my name's Olivia. Today I'm going to show you all how to start your blanket on your Afghan loom and how to start an Ewrap or start your garter stitch. The garter stitch is just a border that will cause your blanket not to curl. It takes a little bit longer and it's a little harder process, but I think it's totally worth it. But I'm also going to show you all just how to do the Ewrap in general, because starting out, trying to get used to it, an Ewrap is the easiest way to go. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. So I just want to preface this video, let you all know that I'm not going to be doing the whole entire loom. I'm going to kind of show you the basics, and then we're going to zoom in and I'm going to show you kind of up close. I might only do a couple pegs, but you will apply what I'm showing you to the whole loom, and I will walk you all through it. Please ignore all these little markings. This is for the figure 8 stitch that I do on this blanket. If you want to go figure out how to do that, I do have a video posted on my channel. So let's go ahead and get it. First, what you gotta do is you can use your hands, but you need an ink pen. This is an ink joy pen, deconstructed. There's nothing in it. I'm going to use a yarn threader. You can get these at the craft stores, but you can use an embroidery hook or a needle or whatever you have at home. I'm just going to thread my yarn through my pen, because this is going to make your looming experience 100% easier and faster. So you're just going to go ahead, thread that, put it to the side. Next, you want to create a slip knot. This is how I create my slip knots. I take it across my 2 fingers, cross it over. I go in between those 2 fingers, pull, twist the opposite way of how my yarn is crossed, and then grab my working yarn and pull it through. Now, this is your starting peg. Your loom will have this little triangle. I colored mine in so that I would be able to know where the start is. You can start it on this peg or you can start it on the next peg. It's whatever your preference is. Make sure that your tail is on the inside of the loom. So make sure that it's facing this way. And you don't want to put it too tight, but you want it close enough to where it's not going to fall off. So then you're just going to kind of tuck your tail, and then we're going to get started. With casting on, it is just a basic Ewrap stitch, and all you're going to do is you're going to make sure you go behind your peg, and you're just going to wrap your peg like this. And you're just going to do this all the way around your loom until you get to this peg. Now, if you want to, you can stop at this peg and leave this one blank so that there's space and you don't accidentally close the blanket together, or you can go all the way to the end, whatever your preference is. So you're going to do this all the way around your whole entire loom. Now, for this part, this next part, you are going to do both for the Ewrap and the garter stitch. But for the Ewrap, once you do this, you're just going to continue doing the same thing over and over. With the garter stitch, it's a little bit more detailed. So you have it wrapped. You're going to push all of your pegs, all of your yarn down, okay? And I need to get down here so that I can see. Now, you're going to wrap this peg back around. If you can see what I did there, instead of going to the next peg, I went and I just wrapped it around that same peg. Then you're going to go the opposite way. You're going to start twisting it back around, making sure that your connection is on the inside of the loom. If your connection looks like this, then your yarn will break and it'll be super hard to flip your working pegs, and it's going to cause a lot of frustration. So just make sure that your connection of your yarn is on the inside of the loom. Okay, so with an Ewrap, you're going to do that. You're going to take your hook and you're going to go ahead and you're going to work your bottom yarn over top. My stitch is a little bit too tight. It's a lot of tight. What the heck? It's not loosening. There we go. I loosened it a little bit. So you're gonna flip it, and now it's secure and you can continue. So with the so then, getting ahead of myself, you're gonna go and you are going to. Did it come off? No, I don't think so. Okay, so you're just gonna go and you are going to flip every single peg. Okay, and you can do a couple at a time and then push them down, or you can do a lot at it. You can do them all at once. It's a personal preference. I do a couple at a time, then push them down. So you're just going to continue to do this till you get all the way to the end. I'm just going to hold it like this, and I'm going to try to show you from a different angle. I picked the worst yarn to use to show you how to do this, but it'll be okay. So this is the last peg you left off on. You're going to wrap the front of that peg, and then you're going to wrap backwards. And this is just so your yarn stays in place. Okay? So then you're going to hold that down because that's not secure and it can all unravel. You're going to secure that last one and then flip all your other pegs. For the Ewrap, you're just going to continue to do this. I'm getting ready to show you what you would do next for the garter stitch. Okay, so now for the garter stitch. You have done your cast on and you have done one row of Ewrap. You are now going to purl stitch. I'm going to move you all to a different angle so I can show you all better and make it easier to be able to show you the purl stitch. I have to have it at this angle. So we left off on this peg. We're not going to work this peg. If we do, it's going to look funky. You're going to go to your next peg. I don't know if you can see. You're going to go to your next one. You're going to take your hook and you're going to go behind this loop, okay? You're going to take your working yarn under. I'm sorry, my hand's in the way. You're going to take your working yarn under. You're going to grab that yarn from the bottom, pull it through, okay? You're going to take your working yarn and you're going to pull up and pull that loop off of the peg. Then you're going to take your working yarn and you're going to replace it on that peg and then tighten it. Okay, I'll do that a couple more times. So you're going to go under this peg. You're going to grab your working yarn under that loop, pull it through the bottom. Like I said, I chose the worst yarn to show you how to do this with. Pull it up from the bottom, pull it through. If you need to, use a lot of extra to be able to pull it off of the loom, and then replace it, tighten it, and you can push it down as you go. So then you're just going to do this all the way till you get to the end of your row. I'll do it a couple more times. Okay, and you're just going to continue to do this all the way around. So we're on our last peg. You are going to work this last peg. We didn't work the first one, but you will work the last one. Okay, so now we have finished our row. What do we do next? You're going to Ewrap again. Okay, So you just purled that row. Now we're going to E-wrap. So you E-wrapped row 1, purled row 2, and now we're going to E-wrap row 3. Okay? And then you're just going to continue to do this until you have the border that you desire. Now, the best way to do the garter stitch is to do it in even numbers. I do 8 rows for my garter stitch. So it would be 4 E-wraps and 4 purl rows that make my border. You can do up to 12, or you can, like I said, you can do any increments of 2s. 4 rows I don't think is thick enough, but personally for my preference 12 is too much. I like a nice 8 rows, and then you continue after your 8 rows, you continue and do a E-wrap for the rest of the blanket till you get to the end. So the next part of a garter stitch is your edges. Okay, you also want your edges to be purled so that your edges don't also curl. Every even row you are going to purl stitch. Okay, so I do 8 rows of a garter stitch and I do 4 pegs. Okay, you're going to skip, when you do your purled edges, you're going to skip your first peg and you're going to purl 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it looks like you're doing 5 pegs, but you're only going to work 4. If you're doing a border of 12, then you would purl 6 pegs. It would look like 7. So we're not going to work this one. You're just going to purl 4 rows. You'll do 1, and I'm sorry if this is out of frame, 2, 3, 4, however many you want to do. And then you're going to E-wrap the rest of your pegs until you get to your end. Okay, so when you get to your end, let's say this is your last peg. So you're going to purl your 4, then you're going to E-wrap the rest of your blanket. When you get to the end, this is your last peg, so you're going to 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to purl the last 4 pegs, and you're not going to work your ending peg. Okay, so these 2 pegs, when you purl the edges, you're not going to work them, and it's so that it gives it a nice border edging, and your edges are straight. And that's how you start your blanket. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I will have all of my socials and our Facebook group and our Discord chat all linked below so that you can easily access me or other fellow crafters if you need help or have questions. I hope that this was very informative and very helpful, and I will see you all in the next video.